Welcome, everyone. Onegaishimasu. Welcome to the USAF Zoom Dojo. My name's Arturo Peel down here in New Orleans, Aikido of New Orleans. And today we have three wonderful teachers for y'all. Ray Farinato Sensei, Lauren Mallas Sensei, and we'll be starting with Rejean Gauthier Sensei. Rejean Sensei, onegaishimasu. Would you bow us in, please?
Hi everyone, welcome to this Aikido online class. Thanks to USAF organization for this huge opportunity, especially Yamada Sensei and the Aikido online class committee. Our dojo, Aikikai University Laval, Quebec City, Canada, is actually closed according to COVID-19's requirements. So, you ready? We'll start. Onegaishimasu. Sports science, yes, sports science provides relevant biomechanical principles and tools to support our Aikido teaching, learning, and training. Fortunately, a lot of these belong with solo training, which is a must during this pandemic and can contribute to achieve Shin-Gi-Tai, unifications of mind, body, and technique. As time is limited, I will share with you some findings in regards to basics and training. At this hand, I will use a few accessories of my home toolbox, 4 Kitaiso warm-up exercises, elastic resistance, which is an amazing training tool, and Uchikomi, contact training repetition. I will run fast my presentation, explaining why, what, and how I do my things with brief demos. My idea here is let you see the largest part I can of my forest instead of only few trees. So, Taiso. Taiso is time or never in my mind to embed basics. We know that basics are accountable for more than 70% of our Aikido technical quality and success. So, first thing first, easy sequence to fix and build basics, fundamentals. So let's jump. At the end of a count of 3, we'll stop. Suddenly, 1, 2, 3. So the result is simple and very interesting as far as by reflex, naturally, we reach a strong and iconic stance, Jigotai, which is common for a lot of Japanese martial art anyway. So the result is feet shoulder width, the weight on your toes, your center is low, your back right, so you're upright, right? Sorry, upright. And your arms are along your body. From that position, with the weight on our toes, it's easy to step forward by gravity. Step forward slightly, taking the ball of the foot on the soil, on the tatami, on the ground. That position is in few parts more interesting as far as you are in the positions of a runner, right? Runner to be quick, to be fast, to be faster than uke, to be quicker than uke. So that positions have very interesting characteristic. One is the back leg. The back leg is in this position like a propulsion mechanism, okay? You can crank it to be faster. You can cranking up to use the force of your leg. Always keeping feet shoulder width, the weight on your toes, back upright, and using this leg. to be efficient, okay? So from that position, we are martial artists, so we need a guard, we need to protect. So from here, hands before your hips, go down and center your arms behind you, before you, sorry, before you. In that position, and what's interesting is that you have protection, a neutral protection, and a neutral posture to gesture that we need in Aikido to dodge, grip, and so on. The other thing is actually probably more important, in my mind more important, is that you align your arms with your hips. Same thing on the both sides. And this is the way to reach synergy. Synergy meaning that from the ground to your leg, to your hips, to your core, to your upper body, you concentrate your power in the center. But important to keep your arms in the inbound of your shoulders and center it preferably. To test that, easy. You only to turn, to put you facing a wall, turn your hands, go down and push. Do the same thing now and enlarge your hand. Each time that you enlarge your hand, each time you lose synergy. You need power, you lose power. So from now, for any of my techniques, I will always keep my arms, preferably between my shoulders, centered, and to keep the power, to use my hips, to use my legs, and so on. So this is a progression, right? So we did Jigotai, Shizentai, and now Kamei. This has to be applied for each of our Ashi, Tai Sabaki, and most part of our techniques. So that is the fundamentals. Other things is Aikido is cycles. Aikido is rhythm. Looks like maybe esoteric, look like maybe obscure, but it isn't, not at all. The idea here is simple. It's not so mechanical than with the stance, but it's also part of the biomechanical principle. First rhythm, first cycle is your breath. Breath down, inhale, up, exhale. Down, inhale, up, exhale. Now, at the same time, you can understand that when you inhale, you relax. Yet you exhale, soft tension. Down, relax. Up, soft tension. In the same time, third category of interest is use your weight. Down, you make you heavy. You exhale. You use your weight and you relax. Up, you use your legs. You breath, you inhale, and you have soft tension. This is a rhythm that we have to adapt through our Aikido. So, to exercise these mechanisms, to exercise, wave exercise. First one is swell waves. Only go down and up, directly down and up. Relax, exhale, Up, soft tension, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Second type of waves is breaking waves. So absorb, go down, exhale, go down. Other type of breaking waves interesting is the breaking back wave. Go down, absorb, extend your core, go down and come back. So always, as I said previously, these basics, these way to move, these way to do things are all the way our Aikido. So, ways are interesting. Position, basics, fundamental too. But Aikido need power. Aikido need some kind of wow factor. So, we use for that whips and hips. Hips, easy way to work that. Your hand, slack, down, always slack, and at the end, only at the end, near the target, you slap. Down, relax, snap. Same thing with the other side. Slack, down, bang. Slap, down, bang. Now, we add our breath, and we go going down. So, it's not enough. Relax, snap, inhale, exhale, use your weight, go down, and the other way to give more power, more effects, is to use hips. To learn to use hips, go down here, hips just slightly back, and come back. Start and come straight. Down, rear, snap. Down, rear, snap. So you can use that for your strikes, your throws, and when you do it more slowly, to give torque to your movements. So, an example, easy. So the idea is to relax. I can do this, but it's not that. It's down, relax, at the end only. Down, relax, at the end only, okay? Same thing for any kind of strikes. Same thing for the kind of throws, okay? Relax, at the end, bang. Use of hips. Extension, slowly, gently, soft, at the end. And you do that for Shiorage, any of your techniques. So, now we have basics, fundamentals, we have waves, we have hips and whips. Now we need another element. It's a kind of vivid summary of all these things. We go down, and it's Kakuroza, okay? So, exhale, down, up, up. So easy, easy, easy. Down, up. You can use it like the traditional way, it's like that. And you can use it here for your Ushiro. Down and down and up. Down, use your hips, sides. Down, use your hips, side, and so on. So that's for Taiso, that's for basics. Elastic resistance. Elastic resistance can be used for all the exercises I did previously. And the idea here, when you do exercises, it is to work slowly without a partner on your head, on your on you, and to relax, to focus, to vision, to feel, and to put to test your work. So very interesting elastic for all these things. So I said that I was using elastic for uchikomi. For uchikomi, very interesting to use for koshi and otoshi waza. For koshi and otoshi waza, just a brief sketch of principles. I call that the backpack drill. Backpack drills mean that you have some kind of backpack and this shoulder strap, right? So to put it on me, I will advance, take, pull, go down, take contact firmly, hop it up, and to take the other strap, I go down here and come back. So this is a movement of waves. So from here, strap on me, contact, hop this up this shoulder, down the other one, keep it, and throw. Down, keep it, and throw. So you do the same with elastic. To do uchikomi. Uchikomi, rapidly from one side to the other. And you apply. So here is important, strong, go down. And so work with Koshinage and Otoshi. You have in mind that more you low, easier is the throw. But more you low, it's difficult for leg. So there's a lot of nuance, a lot of little difference between many of these techniques. Some are to be higher, like Ikigoshi, more down, Obushi, go down, more down with Tayutashi, sorry, and so on and so on and so on. So a lot of fun to work, and this is like a virtual partner. If you want to do other exercises, more like your habitual technique, other waza than kashi and otoshi, you work like with that these years apart. The most feeling we have is if you were working on katatetori. So my time is up. Thank you very much to attend. And it's time now to join Lauren Mallas Sensei from San Francisco, Aikikai. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Rejean. That was so excellent. That was really great. I especially like the part about the hips, and I'm going to follow on with some of that. So I want to today just cover two simple kata that we've been practicing for the past year on Zoom. And you'll recognize them many of you will recognize them. They're very, very simple. And we use them for three things primarily. And the first one, it's exactly what Rejean was just talking about, has to do with moving of the hips, strongly. Interest here is to develop power. Then after we'll do just the foot movement, we add the hands, to try to get the hips driving the hand strike and the throws right? So it's both the ukemi and also the nage throwing. And then finally, we will add the weapon to try to bring extension into the power, right? To throw the extension far. And then I'll add something at the end, maybe some little dropping, some otoshi. Okay, so let's start. First thing is the foot movement. Very simple. Idea is to move the hips and draw and push the feet, right? So the first step from right hanmi is just to draw and push. It's the hips that lead the foot. The hips draw and the hips push. What you don't want to do is just step like you're walking, just walking, walking. No. Drop your center, draw the hips forward, use the abs, use the glutes, and push. Power, think power, Draw, push. So the first two movements of the kata from right hanmi, draw, push, and then on the other side, draw, push. That's it. So together, draw, push, draw, push. So when you start, you're halfway, your hips are halfway between the front and the back. And as you draw forward, the hips move forward and the feet are parallel. And then as you push, now you're centered again in the other hanmi. So from right hanmi to left hanmi, from left hanmi to right hanmi. Now, another thing, the hips. It's not just forward back, that way. There's a slight implication of the hips moving also. And they're not just moving front and back this way, they're also moving this way. There's that rotation like that. I exaggerate it so you see, which is as you draw forward, the hips are drawing and pushing and drawing and pushing. Power. So 1 and 2. 1, 2. The third step, easy. Adjust the back foot and rotate the hips. The feet do not change in terms of the hanmi position. Okay? Right hanmi, draw, push, adjust, rotate. Now you're in left hanmi. Ready? We're going to do the same thing going back. Draw, push, adjust, rotate the hips. You're back at the beginning. One more time. Draw, push, adjust, kaiten. And draw, push, rotate the hips. Okay? Now we're going to add the hands. Hard now, the hands start taking over. You start forgetting about the hips. Try to incorporate, right? The hands are, the power comes from the center, So we're in Kamai. As you draw, lift, and as you step forward, cut. Again, draw, cut. It's shomen, Shomen. The next one, it's a thrust, forward. A thrust. That's 1 and 2. Ready? Right hanmi. Draw, cut, draw, thrust. Adjust the back foot, the hands come up, shomen. Again, it's the hip that is causing the cut. That's where the power is coming from the center, from the hips, from the tanden. And 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do the same thing going back. Ready? And 1, thrust, adjust, cut. Don't forget to cut from the top of the head. One more time. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good? All right, now we're going to take the weapon. Now listen, if you don't have space in your place to use the full weapon, we've been practicing with the stick. Actually works very well. I'm going to do both. First we do with the boken. So I'm just going to reiterate, right, how to hold the boken, right? From that way, let it into the hand. This one on top. Leave a little space between. Now, when you lift the bokken, don't pull it up. Push away with the hip. Push the hip, boom, to bring it up. And when you strike, cast it out. Don't push it out. Cast and use the hips in both cases. The hip pushes here, push, and the hip casts here. So I'm exaggerating, but so you see, it's not just the arms. The hips have to go. So now we're going to do the kata again. You have to put all these things together. And as you push forward, lift and cut. Now we're going to thrust, draw and thrust. It's not just pushing, The hips are pushing through. Now adjust. Now don't forget, up to the top of the head and cut. Now we're going to go back on the other side. Ready? And cut, shomen. Thrust, ski. Adjust, turning, cut. Ready? Again. Thrust, shomen. Thrust, ski. Rotate, cut. Thrust, cut. Thrust, cut. All from the center. I'm going to do it facing you. Ready? And cut. Thrust, cut. Shomen, ski, shomen. Try always to cut from the top of the head and also use the hips. Use the hips. Good? Okay. So now we're going to go to kata number 2. Then we'll go back. We'll add something to each one. Kata number 2, basically the same, except the opening move. Put down the weapon. Instead of going forward, it's drawing away, opening the ma'ai. So it starts in right hami. Draw, push. Same thing. Use the center to draw the foot and to push it back. Power here. Drop, bend your knees a little bit. Draw, push. Now, the next part exactly the same as the first one. Draw, push, adjust, and turn. I'm sure many of you recognize it, okay? And so from right hami, draw, push. Sugiyashi, Draw, push from the hips. Adjust and turn. Now we're going to go on the other side. Draw, push, draw, push, adjust, cut. We're going to add the hands, okay? Hands. From kamae, and goes back, cut. Forward, thrust. Adjust, cut. Now we're in left hami. Open the ma'ai, cut. Close the ma'ai, turn and cut. Powerfully, boom. This is not just for shomen, This is also for throwing. It works both for the uke and the nage. It adds power to your throw as well as to your cut. Okay, so very important is development of the power in the center, down. And what Rejean was saying, the top, it's quite light. Boom. All right, now we're going to add the weapon. This time I'm going to do the little weapon. Yeah. This at home so you don't break the television. Ready? And so let's start in right hami, do number 2. So first is to draw back and open the ma'ai. Now moving forward, thrust, the ski from the hips, adjust. Now as you turn, it comes up and you turn and cut. Boom, the hips. Stepping back, open the ma'ai. Stepping through, thrust, adjust the back, turn and cut. Got it? I'm going to do it again with the bokken. Don't kid yourself that you've got power. If you have no power with the open hand and you just depend on the weapon for your power, you're only getting half the power. That's just swinging a heavy stick, right? You want to put extra power into it. Right on me. Draw back and cut. Draw through and ski. Turn the hips and cut. Other hand me and cut. Thrust. Cut. Again, open the mind. Cut. Thrust through. Turn and cut. Open the mind and cut. Thrust. Cut. You recognize it, right? We know those kata. Okay, now I'm going to add one final thing. I'm going to add a drop. So a lot of times when we do otoshi drops, like that drop, people get confused. They get confused. Oh, which foot should I put down? And what is the connection between me and the uke? So this is a very good way to practice it. When you don't have an uke, you have a weapon and you can use that. And here's how I do it. So first of all, if you're practicing at home and you don't have the carpet or something there, put some towel or blanket, something. For heaven's sake, don't fall down with your knee on the hard floor. That's not good, huh? Make sure you have something there. Next thing, when you cut and drop, the two big problems that come up is that people have the tendency to either drop and then cut, or they cut and then they drop. But if you want to have the real power, add power into the cut, you have to do them together. Which is to say that as the cut comes, you have to drop. You have to add the drop to the power of the cut. And don't forget, the cut is very much forward. You're extending your power, huh? So that is something you have to work on, huh? It doesn't come automatically. And then if you get it and you have it in your body, then when you have the uke there, you're not tempted to drop and try to pull them over, or worse, pull them over and then fall down. Huh? You get the picture that what you're supposed to do is use the power of the thrust and the drop together to give you extra power. So we're going to add that to these two. Let's see how they go. Ready? All right, so you're in right hand. Number one, push and shomen, right? Next, push through and ski. Now adjust. Get ready. As the hips turn, cut. So it's the power. You got three things. You have the hips, extra rotation of the hips, extra throw, a power of the cut, and then the power of the drop. 3 times gives you triple power. Huh? So right on me. Push and cut. Push and thrust. Turn and cut. Now push up. We're going to go back. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Again, push up. 1, 2, 3. Push up. And 1, 2, 3. You see it? Okay. Now we're going to do number 2. Add it to number 2. Okay. Number 2 is the one where you open the eye first, and then the rest is the same. Okay. All right. Right on me. And drawing. Open the eye, show me. Now thrusting forward. Boom. Rotate the hips and drop. Push up. Ready? Open the eye. Push through. Adjust the back foot. Drop. Push up. Ready to go again? 1, 2, 3. Push up. 1, 2, 3. Push up. 1, 2, 3. Push up. 1, 2, 3. Got it? It's good, right? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through 2 times each one, maybe 3 if I have enough time. Okay, so we're going to do them all, and I'm going to face away. You see, I have the white tabi cut off on my right foot. Helps a lot when you're teaching online. People know which is the right foot. It's very confusing. Okay, so now you know the right one, that one. All right, I'm going to face away. Everyone, right on me. And showman, ski, showman. Again, showman, ski, showman. Again, same one. And showman, ski, showman. Again, showman, ski, showman. Now number 2. Ready? Open the eye. Showman, ski, showman, showman, ski, showman. Use the hips. One more time. And showman, ski, showman, showman. Hips. Sorry, I blew it. Again. Showman, ski, showman. Okay, now we're going to add the drop. All right, 2 times through with the drop, then we'll be done. Right on me and push through. Ski, drop, push, and push through. Ski, drop. One more time, and push through. Ski, drop. Again, and showman, push, drop. Good. So I think this works out very well with what Rejean said, which is that the power has to come from the center, huh? That's where the power comes for the strike, for the throw, for the drop, all comes from the center. And these are 2 easy kata that you can use. Actually, you can use all 8 of those kata for doing the same thing, but since I only have a short time here, I'm just using 2 of them to demonstrate. And we've been using them in our dojo. Big improvement on our body movement, on our power, and our capacity. And I suggest that to you. So if you don't have much room to do even that small kata, you can always crunch up a little bit, huh? Right? So you can make smaller like that. Huh? So as long as you have the foot movement and you drop, you're okay. So when you go forward, you can go small. You can go small and then turn and cut. This you can do in a very constrained space. I have many students, they just a little spot in their kitchen, that's what they can do with just that short piece, just like that, right? And these all work that way. Even the drop, you can add it. But be careful. Make sure you put something there so your knee, so you don't injure, right? Right, honey. Up. The bell. All too soon. All right, that's a long bell. First of all, I want to say thank you to the United States Aikido Federation, Aikido Online Series Committee, and especially to my director and producer, Arturo Peel and Laura Pavlik Sensei. Thank you. And most of all, to our big guy, Yamada Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you for everything. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ray Farinato, Sensei. Take it away, Ray.
Thank you very much, Lauren. I'd like to take off on what Rejean said about a virtual partner. So if you have a Joe, if you kindly get that, I'd like to show you a few things. we're going to start first with just some basic exercises that will remind you of some techniques, and then we'll show you how you can use this virtual partner as a way to sharpen your basic techniques. So start just getting a sense of this. Put the jo on the backs of your wrists, balance it, and then at some instant, move off the line into kamae. And what I want you to try to do, if you get comfortable with this, you rarely have somebody trying to hit you in the head these days, so you'll have to play that role yourself and get in the habit of deflecting and moving off the line. So as you make this exchange, it comes in front of your center, off the line. Then to the other side, your palms go opposed to one another, come off the line. If you get comfortable with that, then you can turn. So as you make this movement, turn 180 degrees behind you. But remember to get off the line and have all of the action occur right in front of your center. The whole idea is this doesn't weigh very much, right? And you don't want to necessarily force it. If you have, when we're back to practicing with another human being, then it's going to be more evident that, that you can't muscle things. So try to get in the habit of being fluid and responsive coming off the line. Okay, next thing is ukemi is also probably suffering in this pandemic period. So we're going to practice just a few things to get you reoriented to taking ukemi. Take the jo in one hand, bring it back over your shoulder and just twist and turn and look at it. Okay. Then change hands, flip it over your shoulder, twist and turn and look at it. Once more the other side, so your feet are parallel. Bring this over your shoulder. As you get more comfortable, you can put a little bit more effort into the flip behind you and then try to follow that. Then you want your whole body to respond. So this time you're going to flip it over your shoulder. You're going to put it down on the mat and irimi tenkan around behind it. This may make a little bit more sense if I do this from this direction. As you bring this down behind you, you coalesce your movement and your body position around what is basically the axis of motion. So take this and bring it over your shoulder, put it down, irimi tenkan, and try to come to a stance that's solid. Okay, so just a couple times again, together. Flip it over your shoulder, put it down, face it, turn, irimi tenkan, around it. Try to come back exactly behind it as opposed to one side or the other. Then flip it over your shoulder, and irimi tenkan. Just two more. So here's the indicator. If you start hitting furniture alongside, then you're probably not doing it right. It should go vertically, almost over your shoulder, put it down on the mat or the floor, and turn around it. And then once more the other side. Flip it over your shoulder, irimi tenkan. So think of this as someone is executing a very bad kotegaishi on you. Next one is bring the jo up behind your upper arm and grab it. Then pull to the side, stretch a little bit. This is obviously going to be something like shihonage. Flip sides, so it comes back behind your upper arm. Move to the side, stretch, change back. This time, make sure you bring your ear towards your wrist in response to the stress of the side. Bring your ear to your wrist and take the stress. Then this time, as you come back over and you take the stress, you're going to let go of the upper hand, move around the lower hand, and project forward. So once again, stretch. You're going to let go of the upper hand, keep the lower hand in contact, and then move around that point all the way around, irimi tenkan, and project forward. So the idea is to get out of this situation which might be causing you a little bit of physical stress. All the way behind, turn, irimi tenkan. And once more, stretch to the side, respond to that stress, and dissipate it. Okay, so those are stretching exercises. What I'd like you to do now is if you have either a kanto or something else, we use a small weight and the jo at the same time. So this is a 1 liter bottle of soda filled with, this one is filled with cement. You can fill one with sand. It'll be about 4 or 5 pounds, and it's just about right. You can do this without this for the current exercise. So the idea is that you need an axis around to know where your partner is. Otherwise, you can imagine yourself doing all sorts of techniques, and my visualization isn't all that good, so I need something physical to link to. Then you take the other hand and just balance the jo against it. If you have a weight, the reason for the weight is that it reminds you to be, certain motions will be unoptimal, and you'll feel it in your shoulder. You won't hurt yourself because the weight is too small, but the idea is to remind you. So if we're entering irimi, for Shomunushi Ikomote, over, bring your partner down. Think of it this way: the hand that's on the object is going to be the hand that blocks your partner's wrist, and then the hand that's on the jo is the hand that's on their elbow. So you must first get off the line, and you must pass your partner, bring your hips in, and move in the direction of the jo. So this simulates what you would do in Shomunushi Ikomote. Same thing, start here. Since it's omote, you're going to go, if you're in right hanmi now, you're going to go to the right side. Bring the weight up over your head and down this way. And if you're in a narrow space, it's important that when you execute these movements that the jo ends up kind of right parallel with your forearm, right? So it's not waving in the breeze. Once more, and then we'll do urawaza, right? So Shomunushi Ikomote, and you can, if you have a soft enough surface, you can go down on your knees as if you were pinning. If not, then you can stay standing. Right? Okay, same configuration, right? Hanmi, weight is in your right hand. This is Shomunushi Ikoura. In Ikoura, you go to the other side, right? But the same idea applies. In other words, you have to go past your partner and then tenkan all the way down, right? So this is to simulate Shomunushi Ikoura. Again, balance the jo. I'll do this even without the weight, so you can see that it's not necessary, but it's helpful. Just balance this, okay? So your other hand is free. And then as you enter, right, block, and all the way down. Then as you get comfortable with this, you can play games with letting this start to slip and then move. But make sure that you get past your partner before you tenkan and down. Right? So if you think about using this combination, you can go, we've been going through all the Q techniques. The only ones that don't work are when you're in Hanmi Handachi, right? Or actually Swadiwaza also doesn't work very well. All right, so let's do a few more from 5th Q. So irimi nage, Shomunushi irimi nage. Same idea, start in right hanmi this time. This time as you come in to the ura side, bring your partner with you. So this is the hand which is dragging your partner's head across your chest as you enter. And then enter on the left side, Shomunushi irimi nage. The other thing that this teaches you is that you need to be able to balance, or the motion of your arm that's doing the throwing is more or less vertical and not horizontal. So the fact that there's a small amount of weight should indicate to you that maybe that's not the right way to do it. And once more. Also, think about which direction that you throw, right? So Shomunushi irimi nage, bring the partner's head, and you throw towards the weight side, right? And this one stays up because you've pulled your partner's head across and then compromise their balance. Okay, once more. Shomunushi irimi nage, and across. Okay, one more, and then we will go into some techniques that you can do with a partner if you're safe enough for that. So next one is also from 5th Kyu, Munetsuki Kotegaishi, and we're going to do Kotegaishi Urawaza. So as you come in, strike is coming along the line of this Jo. Deflect, 10 times past the Jo, and then as you come around, throw. So if you have something physical in your hand, it helps you, helps me with visualization anyway. But it's to remind you that you really need to go past the point of attack, right? You have to get behind that. So Munetsuki, Kotegaishi, Urawaza. And if you just do this with one object in your hand, you can make believe that you are making a ring around your partner's wrist, but this one gives you a sense of how you turn as well. Right? Munetsuki, Kotegaishi, Urawaza. Okay. Let's try one more the other side. This is, let's do the same one, otherwise it gets to be confusing. All right, Munetsuki, Kotegaishi, Tenkan, Urawaza. Once more, for Munetsuki, Kotegaishi, Urawaza. Okay, I suggest that you try doing something like this with the visualization based on, we find that a Jo is probably the easiest thing. A weight is optional, but it really helps you figure out the distribution of the motions, and I think that's an important thing to let you know that your arm is out to the side. It should be over the top, almost like you're pouring something out. This seems to be quite helpful. Okay, so next, if you are lucky enough to have a partner, and my partner today is Tom Malucci, who's a senior instructor here at Aikido Fairfield County. We are both vaccinated, but we're going to be cautious anyway. And if we start, we're going to start with an adaptation of Ichino Kumijo, first Kumijo. So this is to remind you what that partner practice is. Ichino Kumijo goes for shin, ribs, and then return. Let's change roles. So shins, ribs. And you get a sense that there's deflection here as well, right? In other words, he's got to deflect me to the side to create an opening. Okay, let's do some adaptation of that, which might be better for Aikido practice when we get to it. Shin. Just completely stop his motion, right? It's not like I'm going to be aggressive because I'll run into trouble. So my first response really is to avoid and then take over. Let's change roles. In other words, back, back. So this teaches you or allows you to practice responsiveness. Then the next thing is you have to be, in Aikido, you have to be responsive, you have to be well balanced, and you have to have the option for additional movement and additional techniques. So this time, I want to be able to move in. So I don't want to be so committed to a posture that I don't have any other options. Stop it, change this way. No, you go next. So to change roles this way, you can see it from the other side. This way. So I'm in an inferior position, right? Because I end up with the opening. So this whole idea of the action of all of these movements with the Jo and also with your hands in Aikido don't want to be far away from the central axis of your body. They want to be in front of you. The reason for practicing with the Jo is that it becomes really obvious if you don't do that. This time he's going to grab and put pressure, so I get to test my balance a little bit. Because the other thing that's important in Aikido is contact, and also be able to project your energy through the point of contact and through your partner to try to arrest their position. So he can push, then we can play a game where I can respond to that, right? The whole idea is to become responsive and not to stick. The stick never helps, doesn't save you, right? It's what you do with your body motion. And then smoothly project to return his attack. Let's change roles. So, right? The idea is you have to be in good balance. And you have to be able to move from there. And not get angry. Basically, don't get angry. Okay. There are other things that we can do. So, for example, shin. And then I can escape. So we do this sometimes with multiple people around you. Sometimes the idea is to get outside of the circle of attack. And so imagine if there were people behind me. I see there's too many people. And I try to put my partner in between me and the other folks. Okay. So I think these are ways that you can utilize things that you do know, especially I would say taking the opportunity to try to improve your visualization of basic techniques using this as a virtual partner, if you will. And as always, you want to be flexible. Right? And then you can also practice connection with your partner. Again, you're not using the jo as an implement of the weapon, but to make sure that your posture is good and that you're not off to the side in a bad state. Let's go this way. So the idea is like this. That's probably a bad angle. Make connection with your partner and try not to struggle, right? There's a spiralic motion in Aikido that's really important. And this gives you a chance to prove that you actually give your partner a little bit extra leverage on you. And you have to figure out how you're going to deal with that, right? Without tensing yourself. Also, a lot of Aikido techniques, you direct your partner into a certain confined, attack on his part. So that, and the hardest one is to let it go. Sometimes you have to just let him have it, because then you have something else that you can do. So I suggest that this is really has been useful for us in training, either with people in sparse populations, or even just by yourself. So I would recommend it. So let's just breathe. Just at the end, Jodan, breathing in and exhale all the way over. Breathing in and over. At the end, your arms should point to the ceiling and exhale. Okay. So I want to thank you all for attending this. I want to thank Yamada Sensei for keeping the spirit of the Aikido organization that he developed together during this unusual time. And I especially want to thank the people who work behind the scenes to make all of this stuff happen. And if there are any announcements, let's hear some announcements before we bow out.
Thank you very much, Sensei. Yes, our next class is going to be April 24th, and the teachers are going to be Charles Cunningham, Patrick Hardesty, and Alyssa Hardesty Cordero. Thank you very much, Sensei.
Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy practice.